Today, I wanted to talk about how the mandates are ending provincially across Canada, and specifically Ontario. We're taking off the mask mandate, we're taking off the vaccination mandate from the government. However, the world has not changed, and quite frankly, a lot of people think that this is the time where, things are changing, everything's getting better, everything's opening up, and the fight is over, and we don't really need to do anything about it. But the reality is different, and we're here to present a different reality to you, exactly what's happening, and what to expect for the future. So, what are your first thoughts on this whole thing now?
Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations with like-minded people. They're like, yay, the mask mandate's over. Yay, I don't have to present my proof of vaccination at a restaurant. We've won.
Yeah.
Well, look federally. Look what's happening there. We have not won. This is still happening, and the problem is the mandates haven't been denounced. It's not like the government has come and been like, you know what, we have lied to you. We weren't right. We weren't right at all. Instead, they're like, oh, what I've heard them say in press conferences is, this is because of your efforts and the cases are lower and stuff like that. So people feel like, oh, we've worked for this by complying. And how is that helping us? Just because the mandates themselves are ending, just because your life might be more convenient now, that mindset, that collective mindset is still there.
Yeah.
If anything, worse as a population, because, who's going to be still wearing a mask and who's not going to be wearing a mask? It's like a whole other divide all of a sudden.
Yeah, and you're right about this. In fact, the narrative has not changed. Like you mentioned, they did not come out publicly to denounce what they did and to say, like, this was all terrible things that we did. Here's the people responsible. They're locked up, or they're going to be punished. They're going to court and to serve their sentences. None of that's happening. There's no victory in this. In fact, what's happening is the situation is getting even worse now. And I'm going to explain why I think it's getting a lot worse than it was before. Because before, people were fighting this. We had a lot of people standing up, a lot of people talking publicly about this, the restrictions and how terrible everything is. But now all of a sudden, now that they announced, okay, the mandates are going away, but everybody else can still implement it. And good job, everybody. Look how nice and compliant you are. And you're such great citizens. And so everybody feels like, okay, well, this is going to be over. And now they're not fighting. So why is this worse? Because the people who are part of our organization, people who are part of other organizations that were originally fighting this, feel like they have no more fight left. So they can go to their regular jobs and they can go to their restaurants, right? But what's the reality? The reality is that you still cannot go to school. Can you still enroll without showing your vaccination? Can you still go and work for a corporate job?
Nope.
Most likely not.
No, they haven't. It's not really over yet. They can implement this back whenever they want. Until they, like we said, until they come out and say we were wrong, this fight is far from over. Yeah. And yes, you can enjoy the little mundane things and, the stress of, let's say you go to a store and you're not wearing a mask, maybe you won't be yelled at as much. Right. But at the same time, this collective mindset still exists. So people have to sit back and assess, what am I doing to fight this in my world? Why have I backed down? I can't. You can't back down yet. We're not done.
Yeah, it's not easy to see because you can still go outside and like I mentioned, you can do the little things like going to your favorite restaurant without showing proof of vaccination, most likely, but still some restaurants will probably implement it. And you can go to some public places without it, absolutely. But that's not the end of this, because what's actually happening behind the scenes that nobody's paying attention to is that the federal government has not removed their Vax Pass, and they have no plans to remove the Vax Pass. So you still cannot travel, you cannot get in higher education, and you cannot work the job that you dream of.
You can't even leave the country.